Part 1. The Sand of the Colosseum. Floor is already dark with blood when they drag her out at noon. Her name is Aurelia Terzia. She is 23 years old. Once she was a slave. Now she is a freed woman, and for Rome that makes her disposable. She is accused of poisoning her former master's wife. She has denied it. She has denied it through 3 days of interrogation, 3 nights of ropes, weights, and fire. Her voice is gone. Her legs barely hold her. The guards do not care. They pull her forward as 40,000 spectators settle into their seats. The crowd restless, bored, waiting for blood. Morning animal hunts are finished. Gladiators will fight later. This hour belongs to the condemned. The Romans call it damnatio ad bestias, condemnation to the beasts. Aurelia's thin linen shift is torn, stained brown with dried blood and sand. She feels the heat of the arena floor burn through it as they force her to her knees. She smells iron, sweat, rot. She hears laughter above her. To the people of Rome, this is not cruelty. This is justice. And Aurelia is only the beginning. In ancient Rome, punishment was never meant to be private. Pain was a public language, a warning written in flesh. The arena was not just a place of entertainment. It was a courtroom, an execution ground, and a lesson to every citizen watching. If you stole, rebelled, betrayed, or simply existed without protection, Rome had many ways to make an example of you. Some were fast, most were not. The iron gate creaks open beneath the stands. Aurelia hears it before she sees it. The low growl, the scraping of claws on stone. The crowd leans forward. Aurelia lifts her head just enough to see the shadow moving behind the bars. A lion, starved for days, its ribs sharp beneath its fur, its eyes wild with hunger. The executioner steps forward and reads the charge aloud. Poisoner, liar, enemy of Roman order. The crowd roars approval. The gate opens. The lion does not rush. It circles her. This is the cruelty of Rome, the waiting. Aurelia tries to crawl backward, but the guards step away. No one helps the condemned. That would dishonor the sentence. The lion lunges. The scream does not last long. When it is over, the sand is raked smooth again. By afternoon, there will be no trace she ever lived. But animals were only the beginning. Some punishments were designed not to kill, but to erase dignity. In a dark chamber beneath the arena, another man waits. His crime was different. He was accused of impersonating a Roman citizen, a crime punishable by humiliation before death. The punishment is called tunica molesta, the painful shirt. Slaves soak animal skins in oil, pitch, and resin. They stitch it tightly around the condemned man's body. It clings to his chest, his arms, his neck. He cannot move. They march him into the arena. The crowd laughs when they realize what he is wearing. A torch is brought forward. The fire catches slowly. The skin shrinks as it burns. The man does not die quickly. The Romans believe this is mercy. Because his suffering amuses thousands instead of wasting quietly in a cell. Not all deaths involved blades or fire. Some were worse. Some prisoners were simply left, chained to wooden posts in the arena, naked under the sun, without water. Birds pecked at their eyes. Insects burrowed into open wounds. If they lasted long enough, animals were released to finish what nature had begun. The crowd placed bets on how long the screaming would continue. A young man is dragged forward next. He is given a helmet, a shield with no grip, a sword with a blunted edge. Across from him stands a trained gladiator, armored, rested, skilled. The fight is announced as comedy. The young man begs. The horn sounds. He dies in less than a minute. The crowd applauds, but Rome reserved its most terrifying punishments for those who challenged its authority. Slaves who rebelled, women accused of witchcraft, prisoners of war who refused to kneel. For them, death was never enough. Groups of condemned men and women are chained together by the neck and marched into the arena. They cannot run. They cannot fight. Animals are released. When one falls, the rest are dragged down with them. The chains ensure maximum panic, maximum suffering, maximum spectacle. By late afternoon, the arena floor is soaked again. Slaves rake the sand. Buckets of fresh dirt are poured to hide the stains. The audience eats, drinks, and waits for the next act. Rome believes this keeps order. Fear is cheaper than mercy. As the sun lowers, another gate opens. This punishment has not been announced. The crowd grows quiet. From the darkness beneath the arena, something large moves. Very large. The announcer raises his hand. This, he declares, is what happens to enemies of Rome. And then the chains rattle. The chains rattle again. This time the sound is deeper, heavier. The crowd senses it immediately. This is no ordinary execution. From beneath the arena floor, the lift begins to rise. Wooden beams groan. Iron mechanisms scream as they strain under the weight. First, the crowd sees the tusks, long curved, ivory-stained dark at the tips. Then the massive gray head emerges into the sunlight. An elephant. The Colosseum erupts. Elephants are rare, sacred, symbols of Rome's conquered lands. Africa, Carthage the East. To use one for execution is a statement. The announcer's voice cuts through the noise. The condemned are enemies of the state, rebels, leaders of a failed slave uprising. 5 prisoners are dragged into the arena. 3 men, 2 women. Their wrists are bound, their backs scarred, their eyes hollow. They are positioned in front of the elephant, forced to kneel. The animal shifts uneasily. It has been trained for this, starved, beaten, taught to associate human. Screams with commands. A handler raises a hooked pole. The signal is given. The elephant charges. The sound is not screaming, it is crushing. Bones snapping like dry wood. Bodies disappear beneath the weight. One woman tries to crawl away, leaving skin behind on the sand. The elephant lifts its foot and brings it down again. The crowd stands. Rome has made its point. As the sun sinks lower, shadows stretch across the arena. This should be the end. But Rome is not finished. Not yet. There is one punishment left for the day reserved for those whose crimes offend not just the law but the gods. The gates open again. This time the condemned is a woman. She is young, younger than Aurelia was, no more than 18. She's dressed carefully, too carefully. A white gown, gold-threaded trim, her hair arranged like a goddess from the old stories. The crowd murmurs, "This is not execution. This is theater." The announcer smiles. "She has been found guilty of sacrilege," he says. "She mocked the gods. Tonight she will meet them." From the opposite gate, a man enters wearing a monster's mask, half bull, half man. The crowd understands instantly. Rome loves turning myths into death. The girl realizes too late. She screams for mercy. There is none. What happens next is so violent that even seasoned spectators turn away. The performance ends exactly as the myth demands. When it is over, the body is dragged away like a prop no longer needed. The crowd applauds the story. not the suffering. The final horn sounds. Slaves rush in to clean the arena one last time before nightfall. Blood is covered, bodies removed, chains unfastened. By morning, there will be no evidence of what happened here. Only rumors, only fear. But beneath the Colosseum, in the dark tunnels where screams still echo in the stone, something stirs. A man watches. He is not a slave, not a guard, not a noble. He is a former gladiator, spared death only because the crowd once loved him. And what he has seen today has changed him. Rome believes the arena controls fear, but fear has a way of turning inward, of growing teeth, of remembering. And soon, Rome will learn what it feels like to be watched. Part 2. Night falls over Rome. The Colosseum stands silent now, its stones still warm from the bodies it consumed. Torches flicker along the outer corridors as the crowd disperses, laughing, arguing, already forgetting the faces of the dead. But beneath the arena, in the tunnels where blood seeps into the cracks, memory remains. Chains lie abandoned. Broken weapons rust in the dark, and the air still tastes of fear. The former gladiator walks alone. His name was once shouted by thousands. Now it is barely whispered. He stops beside a holding cell. Inside, a single prisoner remains. A woman. She is alive only because her punishment was postponed. A clerical delay. A bureaucratic mistake. Rome's cruelty is vast, but not always organized. She looks up when she hears footsteps. Their eyes meet. For the first time in days, someone looks at her as a human being. The gladiator knows what comes next if he walks away. He has seen it hundreds of times. She will be dressed, presented, destroyed, and the crowd will cheer. Something inside him breaks. Rome taught him how to kill, how to survive, how to obey. It never taught him how to stop. He unlocks the cell. The sound is small, but in the silence beneath the Colosseum it feels thunderous. By dawn, Rome wakes to confusion. A guard is found dead near the animal pens, throat crushed, quietly, professionally. 2 more vanish near the armory. Then the gates refuse to open. From inside the Colosseum, screams rise, not from prisoners, but from guards. Animals stampede through the tunnels, released without command. Lions burst into corridors, meant only for slaves. Panic spreads faster than fire. Above ground, citizens gather confused. The arena doors remain shut. Then smoke rises. Inside, the gladiator stands in the sand one final time. But he is not alone. Former slaves, condemned men, women who were meant to die today. They hold stolen weapons, broken spears, chains ripped from walls. They are not trained. They are not organized. But they are desperate. And desperate people do not fear death. They have already met it. When the gates finally open, the crowd expects spectacle. What they see instead is war. Rome's soldiers respond brutally. They always do. By sunset, the rebellion is crushed. Bodies pile higher than any execution day before it. The gladiator is wounded, surrounded, bleeding into the sand that once drank the blood of others. A centurion steps forward. "You could have lived," he says. The gladiator looks around at the arena, at the walls, the stands, the gates soaked in red. "We never lived," he answers. The sword falls. The Colosseum is sealed for weeks afterward. Official records call it a riot, an unfortunate incident, a necessary cleansing. Rome survives. It always does. But something has changed. Attendance drops. Whispers spread. Parents look away when their children ask about the arena. The punishments continue, quieter now, faster, less theatrical. Fear still rules Rome. But it is no longer clean, no longer glorious, no longer unquestioned. Centuries later, the Colosseum will stand in ruins. Tourists will walk its corridors, taking pictures, admiring the architecture. Few will hear the screams. Few will imagine the sand. Darkened again and again by men and women whose only crime was standing in Rome's way. The arena is silent now, but it remembers, and history remembers too.